What is going on, football fans? It's your boy Gsluke here with our second live stream of the year. Going to do a few best ball drafts together. In fact, we're going to do two at a time here. So it's going to be a little bit of double tap action. I'm definitely going to need you guys' help with some picks because we're going to have two simultaneous drafts going on. So it's going to be fast paced. We're going to look at some pick'ems perhaps at some point during the live stream. So if you have like questions about my top underdog or prize picks week one props, or even some season long stuff too, it's your time for that. So welcome to the live stream. Today, we're going to be sipping on a little Crown and Coke. So let's have some fun with it. We'll try and go out there, give you some strategy notes as well, and make sure you're prepared heading into your season. I know a lot of people probably have some last second drafts this week, myself included there for the community. So definitely some last minute touch-up work that needs done, right? First off, Jonathan. Sorry about that. Mike was gone there for a second, but we're good. Yeah, don't draft Taylor. That's what I was saying. If you didn't see the news today, you don't want to draft him. That's for sure. Actually, I'll say, Todd, you don't want to draft him at ADP, but in a few drafts I was in today, he was dropping to like the 80 to 90 range. I would draft him there, right? I draft him in the 8th, maybe 9th round because he's likely going to be traded at some point or have some sort of resolution where he comes back. And even if he doesn't, right, the upside with like a 9th round pick for potentially a 20 point per week kind of producer is hard to pass up, right? So, all right. Hopefully it's done giving me problems. All right. So these drafts are about to start. Let's see. In the first pick, we have first draft, we have the third pick. In the second draft, it looks like we have one of the last picks. Yeah. In fact, our second draft, we have number 12. So keep that in mind if you guys are going to help me out with our picks. In our first draft, they went JJ, then Chase. So in a lot of drafts, I've been going with Tyreek Hill. I'm going to go ahead and take Christian McCaffrey here. I don't have a ton of exposure to CMC. I do have a lot of exposure to Tyreek Hill here. So I think just for my portfolio's sake, probably best to just go with the top ADP option. So again, down in chat, if you have any recommendations, please let me know. And yeah, hopefully the mic is done giving us that nonsense. Yeah, in that round, yeah, if you get him in the 8th, 9th round, I think he makes sense. You love that 12, 13 spot. Who are you thinking, Crush? So we got to start thinking about that pick here. We're up in 7 picks. So the top 2, top 3, 4, honestly, all went in very predictable order. We're going to be down here in like the CD Lamb range, right? Perhaps getting like an AJ Brown to fall to us right there at number 12. We'll have to see what shakes out here. So they went Kelsey. So once again, very typical with those top 5 picks. So I'm leaning wide receivers here. So maybe taking a double wide receiver like an AJ Brown and a CD Lamb, or maybe going like an AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, CD Lamb, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. One of those kind of combinations just to try and shore up that position. We could go Nick Chubb. I've seen a few people recommend him. I do think that he's a reliable starter, but in terms of like spike performance upside, right, these top end wide receivers bring a lot to the table. So we'll have to see. We're 4 picks away here. There goes Bijan Robinson, who I still have yet to draft through like, I think we're at like 180 something drafts at this point. So we're 10 picks away over here. We have quite a wait to go. We went CMC with our first pick, so we're probably looking wide receiver there. Up in 3 on our second draft, and we're probably looking at these wide receivers I was talking about. 1, 2 of them might get drafted, so we might only be able to get 1 of the 3. If that's going to be the case, maybe we do take Nick Chubb, right? Maybe we do go that direction. But let's see what happens here. Austin Eckler is still on the board, surprisingly. Well, there goes Eckler. Expected that. Now, let's see what happens with the wide receivers here. let's see, any, recommendations down there? You like Kelsey up top, but you don't need a tight end till late. For sure. Yeah. There's utility there. And with like the top end quarterbacks that you can count on every week, they bring a lot to the table. So we can get both wide receivers, right? We'd have to really fish down there to take like a Josh Jacobs. So I'm going to go ahead and take AJ Brown. We're going to lock him in here at some point. Who would you guys take? Let me know between CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think they're both decent options in terms of ADP. Neither one would be a bad play by any means. Just let me know what you guys are thinking. I'm definitely wanting to take Brown. I don't have a ton of exposure there. And then CD, I do have a bunch of exposure. Amon-Ra, I think I'm under the field on. So maybe we go Amon-Ra. Let's see. Any comments? Doesn't look like anyone has a preference there. So if that's going to be the case, I'm going to go Amon-Ra St. Brown here. That's just for the sake of my portfolio. But, CeeDee Lamb, if we went that direction, right, that'd be fine too, right? There's no bye-week overlap between any of these wide receivers. So yeah, let's plug Amon-Ra in there just because I don't have as much exposure and go that direction. We're going to be up over here on this draft here in just one pick, actually. So we went CMC with our first pick, and look at that. We have Josh Jacobs at the top of my board. So if I were drafting based on my rankings here, I'd be taking Josh Jacobs. But if you're looking at ADP, right, we'd be taking somebody like Derrick Henry. I don't have much Josh Jacobs exposure, and I don't want to take one of these wide receivers, which is kind of just like an average value at ADP. So do I take Jacobs or do I go with King Henry? You know what? We're just going to take Henry. We're just going to take him because he dropped to us. We went 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds, which I'm not super keen on doing. But these wide receivers here, like a Ridley, Smith, Higgins, there are guys in this next tier down that honestly I think are very comparable when it comes to their projections. And we can spend up, right, get 2 of those stud running backs early and kind of solidify that position, right? CMC, we're going to count on like 80, 85% of weeks. Derrick Henry, a little bit less, probably like 60, 65% of weeks. But I mean, we added one more solid option, maybe in that mid tier, and we're done with running back, right? So I know we didn't get another elite tier wide receiver, but we can start that now, right? It's not like we can't start to work on that position here. And maybe we can still get a Ridley or a Higgins, right? We're 2 picks away. If Josh Jacobs is still there, I'm going to be a little bit annoyed, but we'll see. I have to think that one of these 2 that doesn't have a running back goes with Jacobs. We'll have to see. King Henry, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Can go either way. I just went based on my exposure. Do I take a look at the weekly winners? That's where most of your drafts are at. I haven't yet crushed, but I've had a lot of people recommend it. So I'll probably dive into that here soon. So they did go Jacobs. So they took that off the plate. They also went Gibbs there, which I found a little interesting. So we can go Calvin Ridley. That's a value in terms of ADP. There's no real stacking that we can do here, right? There's no that correlation that we can worry about right now, right? With this level, this part of the board. So let's just go ahead and take Calvin Ridley, right? I'm not stoked about him. I'm not so high on him compared to a lot of other people out there. I do think Jacksonville will be a productive offense, but there's a lot of mouths to feed, right? You've got Christian Kirk. You've got guys like Zay Jones that are really talented wide receivers, running backs, skill position players all over the place that can get the job done. So I think he's a solid starter, right? But don't get me wrong, I'm not way over the field on Calvin Ridley. So that was a little bit of just a value pick there, right? Somebody that kind of fell into our lap at a position of need. So let's see, we're up in 8 spots over here. So we went double wide receiver with the 12th and 13th pick. Let's see. I'm considering running back here, but I don't love our options. So we might just really go after wide receiver. If we somehow can take Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson, I'm going to do it. So there's a very low probability, right, that they don't get picked here in the next, 6 spots. But if for some reason we come back and these 2 are available, it's going to make our job really easy. Outside of that, I'm open to recommendations, right? Gibbs, I kind of want to get more exposure to just because I do think towards the end of the year, he'll start to have more of a healthy workload. And that's more what I'm worried about, right? Not the first 4 or 5 weeks. Deebo Samuel, you can never go wrong with. I feel like I need to get more exposure there. So there goes Mark Andrews. Let's just take Lamar Jackson out then. I knew that was going to be a pipe dream, but anytime you have back-to-back picks, you can start to think about correlation a little bit more, right? particularly when it's like an Andrews Lamar stack that can be so correlated. When Mark Andrews has a big game, typically that's when Lamar Jackson is having a big game. It's a nice one to try and lock up, but yeah, it was a pipe dream, right? That one wasn't going to last. That would have been nice. Could do a lion stack. That's true. I could. Oh, should I? I mean, they took Gibbs off the board, so I guess it can't do that anymore, huh? Yeah, I don't know. I don't force in stacks as much as a lot of other people do, but I definitely look out for them. Like if I can go out there and easily lock one in, I will. But yeah, that was unfortunate. So we're in back-to-back picks here. Debo's still on the board. I kind of like that. Let's go ahead and take Debo. I think he's just the best player available. I'll throw him into my queue while we think about our next pick. So we've got Watson there. We could go Najee Harris at running back. I'm okay getting over the field there on Najee. I do think that the Steelers are going to be a little bit better on offense than I think most people would. So yeah, let's take Debo. Right, we were milking the time there to talk about this. We've got Najee we could take. I'm considering Justin Fields. I really like taking him in fantasy formats. You can see I have him ranked a lot better than his ADP. But I'm tempted just to stack up wide receiver or go Najee. So I'm going to put Najee in the queue. He's like seemingly probably the best pick. But I kind of want to go out there and take, I'm going to take Breece Hall. I don't have enough Breece Hall in my portfolio. I think I'm at like 25% Najee Harris, so well above what you should be, right, compared to the field. So we're going to take Breece Hall there, right? Both similar ADP, productive offense, right, with Aaron Rodgers leading it there. And I love Najee, right? I'm still well over the field on him there. But these are the kind of decisions you have to make when you're entering a ton of fantasy lineups, right? Like, it's not like I took a different ADP, right? It's 42 versus 43.1. But by taking Breece Hall, I can try and round out my portfolio just a little bit more. So I think I only had like 3 or 4 lineups with Hall before that. So that was the real thinking there. Let's see. So we're up in 1 pick here. We went 2 running backs and a wide receiver. I ideally do want to go wide receiver here. So DeAndre Hopkins would be my main lean. We could go Brandon Ayuk if I wanted to once again kind of differentiate my pull. But based on just best player available, I mean, Najee Harris would be that guy. But, we want to fill a position of need here, right? Especially when we only have 1 wide receiver. So let's take DeAndre Hopkins, number 1 wide receiver on a team that I think is going to be much better through the air this year. I think a lot of people aren't considering the fact that offense, first off, is the scheme is going to be a lot more developed compared to last year. You have more offensive targets. And I think the quarterback play is going to be much improved as well, right? No matter whether it's Tannehill, they go to Malik Willis, right? At some point, I think whoever it is, the offense in general is going to be a lot more productive. So especially with Burks a little bit hampered early, DeAndre Hopkins might eat those first few weeks. So we'll see. I like that pick there. I want another wide receiver. So if Ayuk is still there, I'll take him. If not, George Pickens is likely going to be the guy. Let's see. Since I took Henry as a late pick, do you make Spears as his backup a priority? You can do that, Todd. I would say I kind of prefer the other picks because, like, if you're taking Henry, you're hoping that he's going to be a stud for you, right? You don't really want to take an insurance policy. But I definitely get the thought process. I've done it before. I don't avoid that strategy. I'm really tempted to reach and take Pickens, but we're going to add Ayuk, right? Heck, I almost took him with our last draft pick. So to be able to take him like 4 or 5 picks later is clearly value. So let's take him. There's 0 chance I'm going to get Pickens over there in 17 picks. So let's just take him out of the queue. In our other draft, we have 3 wide receivers in Breece Hall. Running back is starting to become a priority, right? We need 1, maybe 2 more solid running backs to feel good about it. But, I mean, look at the top of the board, right? We've got Justin Fields there, who I almost drafted last time around, who, if he's still there, I will 100% draft. Won't even be a thought. You have guys like Justin Herbert, right, who are even just – I'm considering – I really like him this year. I think he's going to have a much better year than last. Kirk, I could start to go that direction. Pickens is there, right? Like, I'd probably wait on him. I already have enough George Pickens exposure. So there goes Justin Fields. Let's figure this out. So running backs, right? You'd have to reach on one a little bit, right? We got J.K. Dobbins at ADP 66. And yeah, it's starting to become a problem because people are reaching on running backs. I mean, look at this. Madison, right? Dameon Pierce is getting drafted. I don't want to get left in the dust, but I also don't want to, pass up this value, right? Especially like if it's a Christian Kirk or a Justin Herbert like we have here. We have back-to-back picks, so we've really got to start thinking about it. Herbert went off the board, so that's one of them. Maybe we do fish for one of these running backs down here. Maybe take one running back, one piece of value. That might be a way to kind of lock this up. The ones I'm considering, let me know who your top options are. It would be Javonte, it'd be Miles Sanders, and then J.K. Dobbins, not in any particular order. And then in terms of value up top, right, if we have Christian Kirk available, I'm going to take him. Like he's, to me, the slam dunk pick if he's still available. But between these three running backs, if you have any hot takes between Miles Sanders, Javonte, and Dobbins, I am all ears for that. So there goes Kirk. So maybe we are taking a few running backs here. And let's see, any hot takes on this pick here? No hot takes yet. I'm honest. I'm siding towards. I don't have any Miles Sanders exposure. And the thing is, the Panthers, right, rush first team, same thing with the Eagles, but maybe he gets a higher percentage of the snaps, higher percentage of the carries, right? The Eagles really spread around the ball. And last year, right, he ran for 1,200 yards, right? Despite that, right? Similar type of offense, I think maybe more of a concentrated type of workload. So I'm going to take Miles Sanders, and I'm not usually a huge believer in the guy by any means. Like I like talking shit about Miles Sanders, but I think that's not really a bad spot at all there. So in terms of our second pick, we got 19 seconds. We could take a tight end, or we had Hawkinson drop to us, and yeah, we're just gonna do that. I think that it's a decent value. It fills a position of need, and like a lot of other players I took, like a Miles Sanders and a Breece Hall, just guys I don't have a ton of exposure to and that I want more of. And if I'm going to get them at a decent value spot, then I'll do so, right? Miles Sanders, maybe not so much, but these guys in this draft are going really running back heavy. So let's see. We're not up for 20 picks, so we're not going to get Williams or Dobbins likely. They'll probably get drafted. Let's hop over to this other draft, see what's going on. So you said Javonte, Miles, then JK. So yeah, at least I went with one of your top two there, at least, Crush. But yeah, I have a bunch of Javonte. I think I'm at like 15, 20% right now. So well over the field. So we're up in 3 picks. We have got 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and there's a ton of wide receiver value on the board. So there's a good chance that we go double wide receiver with these not back-to-back picks, but 2 relatively short picks here. So Terry McLaurin, I think if Sam Howell actually looks decent, like a lot of people are saying, is a steal. So yeah, he just went off the board. That would have been a huge piece of value. I don't hate Mike Evans. I don't hate getting to a Gabe Davis who just got drafted. I do have a lot of Mike Evans, which kind of worries me here. So maybe we just take Chris Godwin, right? Yeah, let's just do that. I don't have a lot of Chris Godwin. And again, it's another ADP value, right? Fitting a position of need. This draft over here in general, literally every player here except for Derrick Henry, I'm under the field. Actually, yeah, Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins, both those Tennessee guys, I am over the field on. But the rest of them, I'm well under the field. So I kind of like what I'm doing here. This is a contrarian draft, right? It's almost like a hedge against some of my exposure so far. So we're up in 2 picks. We still have Mike Evans there. I don't have a lot of Addison, and I wish I had more. And that's right. The other draft's the one that we have Hawkinson on. I was going to say we could try to go that direction, but nope. Wrong draft. I still don't hate going with him, though. I think he's going to be productive. He's going to be a high target kind of player, just somebody that gets open quite often, quite shifty. So we'll see. So maybe we go Addison. Let's add him into the pool for right now. We could go Marquise. Now, I don't love Brown. Don't really need running backs, especially because we have 2 really good running backs. So let's just take Addison, right? It's a player that I want more exposure to. You can never have too many wide receivers, especially at this part of the draft. And we have those 2 stud running backs that can get the job done. Now, our problem in this draft, right, is quarterback and tight end, right? We haven't hit either position, but there are a lot of mid-tier options that I like for both. So we'll see. So just because we want to look ahead a little bit, potential targets at quarterback, right? Maybe a Tua. I don't hate there. Anthony Richardson might still be on the board. So let's see. Let's look at tight end. So picking over there in 15 picks. So potentially like an Evan Ingram. We could look at a, I guess, Fryermuth for the next pick. Let's see. So let's put those in there for now. Over to the other draft where we'll have back-to-back picks. We have 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and a tight end. So we could do a lot of different things here, right? We're not tied into one position to target. So we're probably just looking at best player available and just a few guys that stand out here. So I like Pacheco. And I even like taking Pacheco a little bit early. So I'm going to throw him in the queue for right now. We've got we don't need a tight end, so let's not take one of those 2. And I like Pacheco more than a lot of these other running backs. So if we're going to take a running back here, which based on the fact that we have Breece Hall and Sanders, who aren't like stud running backs by any means, I don't hate this, especially when it's somebody like Pacheco that I like so much. Like you put just a solid player like Pacheco in a highly efficient offense that's going to score a lot of touchdowns, get a lot of red zone touches. That's money. So one of our 2 picks here will be Pacheco. The other one might be Quinn Johnston. I'm not against that. So yeah, we're going to take Pacheco as the first pick. So let's still figure out what we're going to do with number 2. We could go like Kamara. It's not the worst pick. Getting him slightly after ADP. Wide receiver position, I don't love our options so much. I mean, Quinn Johnston would be like the obvious choice if we went that direction. So let's take Pacheco. Let's see. Anyone down in chat have anyone they really like there? What's going on, Evan? What Kansas City wide receiver am I the highest on? I have a lot of Tony. And honestly, in general, I'm way over the field on all of the Kansas City wide receivers. When I can take any of the value tier guys, like even like a Justin Ross, I do. So I'm thinking we're going to go Johnston. He's in a highly efficient offense. Justin Herbert. We're going to go that way. I don't think you can go wrong taking a talented wide receiver and an efficient offense. And especially when it's somebody as talented, right, as Quinn Johnston is likely to be. So let's go that direction. I like our start here, right? Some solid running backs, some solid wide receivers as well, even TJ Hawkinson at tight end. Quarterback is a slight issue, but we'll see. We'll address that here soon. Over on the other draft, all 4 of the players that we were looking at are still there. So that's good news. We're 5 picks away. And unless there's any glaring value on the board, we're probably going to go that direction. Speaking of, we do have Quinn Johnston available. We do already have 5 wide receivers, so it kind of feels like overkill. So let's address that if we need to. I'll probably get picked, right? Let's see. Yeah, there he goes, right? Got picked off the board there. MVS is a great value. Dude's going to be in every snap. Agreed. I like him. I like Tony quite a bit. I think Travis Kelce is going to have a huge year, right? Being just like the clear alpha dog out there. So we'll see. There goes Tua. All right, that's kind of unfortunate. There goes Pacheco. So let's see. I might take Evan Ingram first. Yeah, we're going to go Ingram, especially because Fryermuth just went off the board there. So let's take Evan Ingram. Our second pick, I don't love taking so much Anthony Richardson, but, a rushing upside quarterback, it just means so much. So, I might take the shot because maybe early in the year, he isn't as productive, right? They don't open up the offense as much. But by the time we get to playoff time, right, Anthony Richardson might be the nuts. And a lot of times in drafts, what I'm doing is I'm taking a Richardson now, and then I'm drafting an immediately, another quarterback in the next 2-3 rounds. I could go down here, maybe take a Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers, and hope that early in the year, right, we're riding one of those quarterbacks. And then late in the year, Richardson looks like a Justin Fields, maybe. Right? He's going out there scoring a bunch of fantasy points. At least in the ideal scenario, that's the way that I see Anthony Richardson panning out. Now, whether that happens is a huge if, but if he does pan out, it'd be an immense upside. So let's see. Does he get drafted? He's the second best ADP player. We've got Sky Moore there. You guys know how much I like these Kansas City wide receivers. Let's see. Ooh, I kind of want to take Sky Moore. I'm so torn here because I don't have much Sky Moore, and I literally love the Kansas City wide receivers. I'm trying to get as much exposure as humanly possible. We do need a quarterback, though. All right, we're just going to take Anthony Richardson. Let's lock him in. We're going to need another quarterback. So we're going to have to look at this at some point. Over on the other draft, we've got back-to-back picks and 8 picks. We've got a relatively balanced build. We do want to look at quarterback at some point. If Tua's there, I'll likely take him. Once again, I'm much higher on his prospects this year than most people are. We don't really need a tight end, so we can go, skill position player with the other position. There goes Tua. So let's recalibrate here a little bit. I don't hate Daniel Jones, especially because of his rushing upside. And I don't hate the idea of potentially adding in a Tony again. I have so much exposure. Maybe not. Let's see. Let's figure this out. First, we're definitely going to go Daniel Jones. If possible, you can see we're getting him at pretty much at ADP if we can take Daniel Jones. And once again, I like that rushing upside at quarterback, just like why I like Anthony Richardson. Per up Kirk with Addison and Hawk. Not sure if you took Addison with your Hawk lineup. Let's see. I don't think I did. Nope, it's the other way around. Yeah, I wish. That would have been nice, huh? Try and figure out something with that. Let's see. Where are we at? Kirk Cousins, though? There goes Daniel Jones, right? I could take Kirk Cousins with Hawkinson, though, right? So I wouldn't have him with Addison and Hawkinson. I have him with one of the two. It's not the worst idea. Now, especially now that my boy Daniel Jones is gone. Well, I'm not liking this spot over here. And we have to draft back-to-back. Oh, boy. So let's put Kirk in there. I don't hate the idea at all. In terms of our second pick, though, I want to take a wide receiver. I'm not in love with any of our options here, but we could definitely make it work, right? So we're going to take Kirk. That'll be our first pick for sure. Our second pick, I'm between going Romeo and then going with Odell. Odell I don't have much exposure to, but he does have an elite quarterback, right? What should be at least a productive offense going on. So we're going to go Odell. I don't have him in many drafts. Our wide receivers ahead of him are pretty solid, right, to start. So it's not like we're counting on Odell Beckham. We're more just hoping for some splash plays, right? Some, spike performances for 15, 20 fantasy points. And I think in that kind of offense with Lamar Jackson as his quarterback, that's possible, right? For sure. He showed that in the playoffs, right? I don't know how productive he's going to be early in the year, but hopefully during playoff time when it's, the Baltimore Ravens trying to make the playoffs, hopefully they're getting the ball a lot to Odell, right? When we're trying to go out there and win in GPP. That's the thing that people don't realize about Odell is he might suck the first half of the year because he's old. He doesn't want to play very much. And I know it's crazy to say Odell's old, but I guess he is. But those last 4 weeks, the playoffs last year, last few years, he's been super good, right? So he clearly still has the talent. It's how much he wants it, right? And hopefully if they're in a playoff race, he wants it. Because I don't know. I don't think a lot of people consider that with him. Especially because you just look at the last few games of every year, he's a completely different player. Let's see. So this other draft we're looking at, we've got 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, and 5 wide receivers. So very balanced. Once again, we can really go any direction we'd like to. We're 5 picks away. I kind of like the idea of taking a Rashad Penny here. Right? I know some of these other guys are going to get drafted. I already have a crap ton of Jaylen Warren at a much better ADP as well. So, yeah, I'll probably go Rashad Penny or Samaje Perine here. We already have 2 really good running backs. But the idea here with Penny is he's going to score a lot of touchdowns, right? I guess he's not the lead back, right? DeAndre Swift, I guess, might technically be the lead back over there for Philadelphia. But I like Rashad Penny this year. I think that they use a bunch of running backs there. You saw that last year. And Penny is going to score a lot of touchdowns. So I like that, especially on a highly productive offense. So let's see what we can do here. If we could take him, we'll have 3 running backs. Then we can start looking at potentially taking our second quarterback that I was mentioning with our next pick, which I don't know. We'd be fishing in terms of ADP. I guess these guys are quarterback heavy for whatever reason. Let's see. All right. So, yeah, let's take Rashad Penny. I'm glad you're able to lock that in. Somebody I'm trying to get more exposure to. And we're up here in 4 picks. And I guess we are going to take a quarterback. Why are these guys taking all these quarterbacks? I mean, there's another one. This guy's got 3 quarterbacks. He went Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, all drafted above ADP. Why? Why am I in this draft? And why is my quarterback Anthony Richardson? Oh my God, this is annoying. The thing is, like, I have to draft one at some point. Like, look how quickly it's going to drop off. This is so shitty. I guess I'm taking a quarterback. So I'm just going to take Kenny Pickett. Steeler fan and all, whatever, I guess. That's rough. That's rough. This quarterback situation over here in the first draft, I hate it. It's absolute just cancer, honestly, but whatever. Let's hop back over here to the other draft. So we've got 1 quarterback, 3 running backs, 5 wide receivers, and 1 tight end. We're going to have back-to-back picks here in 3 picks. And we're really just trying to add depth, right? We've got most of our starters, our week-to-week, guys taken care of. Let's see what's going to happen here. Yeah, these guys and their quarterbacks, huh? They act like they're going to play in their lineup every week. They might not know how it works. How do I feel about some of the young tight ends? Really like Musgrave, Mayer, and McBride. If I had to rank them, I like McBride the most, probably Mayer second, then Musgrave. McBride, I think the quarterback play is going to hold him back, but, really talented player. Like, if he had Kyler Murray the whole season, I think McBride would be like a borderline top 15, top 10 tight end. So, there's a lot of good flyers to take. I like Taysom Hill as a potential flyer, a lot of that kind of stuff. So let's see. I don't really want Jacoby Myers here. Oh. Okay, we're just going to add Devin again. I have him in a bunch of drafts. Miami, once again, just a solid offense. I like taking running backs and highly productive offenses. And I do want to take a wide receiver here. So maybe I do take Jacoby Myers, or we just go with another Kansas City wide receiver. Okay, we're going to do that. Like I said, I don't really care what Kansas City wide receiver it is. I just want more exposure to them, literally across the board. And the ones that I like the most, Tony, I guess I like Sky more too. I just don't have much exposure there. But like even these mid to late round guys that aren't going to play that much, I still like because of their touchdown upside, right? Like the Byron Pringles score touchdowns for the Chiefs, right? You have backup tight ends like Noah Gray, or I forget the other one's name out there, but they score touchdowns all the time for the Chiefs. If you're a Kansas City Chief and you have Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball, you can score touchdowns, right? And in best ball and like these mid round kind of picks, that's all you want is like guys to score touchdowns every once in a while, maybe like 4 on the year. So maybe you get like 4, 5, 6 weeks of utility out of a Rice, maybe more, right? Maybe he is a better player than we realize. That's pretty sick. So yeah, that's it's not my favorite pick, but that's why I go with those Kansas City wide receivers, like almost blindly. I'm just like, okay, give me all the Kansas City exposure possible. For this other draft, I hate the quarterback situation. I'm still pissed off about that. Must be a QB flex we don't know about. That's what I'm saying. That or they're on auto, that too. I didn't even notice how far did Taylor dropped in these drafts. They didn't draft. I didn't know if you noticed, they got auto picked. So I think somebody must be on auto pick and have not changed their ranking on somebody like Jonathan Taylor. That's interesting, huh? In fact, I guess let me look. Let me see if we can find where he actually got picked. I don't see him yet. So he got picked 43rd there. So he only dropped like a couple rounds. That's kind of wild to me. I obviously think he probably should have dropped a little bit more than that. And then in this draft, let's see. Was he in the 40s again? He got picked 61 over here in the other draft. So that seems a little bit more realistic, right? Taking him at 61. But 40 something? It's early. Way too early on somebody that might not play this year, right? I like him at like pick 80, right? Pick 85, like I was getting them earlier today. But not that early in the draft. So I'm looking at I guess running back or wide receiver over here on this first draft. Marcus Valdez Scantling's there. So another Kansas City wide receiver. Yep, we're gonna take him if we can. I know it's a meme at this point. I know we could take Rice, but look at that. He just got picked, right? So, you know what? I'll take the other one. I'll take MVS, right? The one that's as actually listed as the starter right now, right? I actually want the guy that's going to play. So let's go with MVS. And we might want to go tight end at some point, but look at all these running backs to choose from. In fact, if Jamal Williams is there, we're going to go that direction. If not, I don't hate the idea of maybe going Raheem Mostert. Right? I have some Devin exposure, but I kind of want to go Mostert in a few lineups too. So let's see what happens. We're 3 picks away over here, so we've got to start to think about our back-to-back picks. We only have 1 tight end, only 1 quarterback. This draft, we might want to consider going with our second quarterback. I like Kirk Cousins, but I'm not, completely sold on the guy. Let's see. KJ Osborne, I'm going to take because we have Kirk Cousins, we have TJ Hawkinson, right? So that's I know it's not a perfect stack, right? But we have something going on there. Oh, we're on the clock on both. Okay, so we're going to take Mostert because we're on the clock over there, and then over on this draft, I'm going to take Chig Okonkwo as our second tight end. So there's no crossover on our bye week there. Got a little hectic there, right? Having the back-to-back picks and them overlapping, but they got the job done there, right? We've got our second tight end. We do need a quarterback at some point. So with our next draft pick, maybe I do take like a Sam Howell, who I do think has a decent season. And then over here for this draft, I'm liking our spot too, right? The quarterback position was a little bit annoying. We do need a backup tight end, but especially at like our depth at both wide receiver and running back, I think we're at a decent spot there. So 13 picks away, we're probably looking at potentially getting a Greg Dulcich. I don't think that he's we wouldn't really be reaching on him too much there if you were taking him, and I think he makes sense. We could consider taking best player available. So perhaps that is somebody like Brock Purdy, right? Getting a third quarterback, but I think that's overkill. So unless one of these other tight ends drops, right, like a Juwan Johnson or a Chig Okonkwo, we're probably going to take Dulcich. Let's see what's going on in chat now. Yeah, that thing with Taylor, by the way, is nuts. Like there are people that just don't look at the news, right? That don't change the rankings that are entering these drafts. That's why they're so plus EV, right? You can get players at a slightly better value than you should be because of that. And it's not just one player, right? There are dozens of guys, right, that have completely different outlooks now than they did just like a week ago or even like before today, right? Before making the 53-man roster, like a Justin Ross down low, right? Playing for Kansas City that really need to get drafted at least like a round or two sooner, right? After some of that news. So yeah, a lot of value out there for sure. So we've got 13 picks. I'm probably going to take one of those tight ends. Have to imagine. Over here in this draft, let's see what we're working with up top. So we don't need a tight end. So Dulcich, probably not as much of a priority. I'm not a huge fan of Rondale Moore, but we could mix him in. I do like Isaiah Hodgins this year. So even if we're going to, maybe reach a little bit for a player here, I don't hate doing it on Hodgins. He's not in a great offense, but he does have good chemistry with Daniel Jones. And perhaps we make that work. Who knows? Let's see what these slimy guys in front of us are going to do, huh? Let's see if they start to steal our players. So there goes Juwan Johnson. Let's see. Can our boy Dulcich hold on, or are we going to have to go with Musgrave, who I'm okay with going with too? I don't want to diss my boy Luke Musgrave over here, fellow Luke, right? Can't be talking bad about my boy. Maybe Hall. Let's see. Any indie running back worth a late take? Not that I know of, Todd. I'm not really that much in tune with guys that are playing on that team because, I was expecting Jonathan Taylor to either play for them or to make some sort of trade, right? Perhaps even get a running back in that trade. That news today was very unexpected for me. So I don't know how to react to that as much as I think other people do, right? There's Deion Jackson, who's like the clear guy that's going to get a huge thing. I guess, yeah, Hall's the one that Underdog's pointing out as the backup. If that's like the sentiment around the industry, I think you could take him in a few lineups, but I don't have the exact source knowledge on that, so I couldn't tell you. Let's see. So D. Bry up there, or D. Bryce. Let's see who he takes. He could take Musgrave here. I have no issues with that. Backup pick, I suppose we could take an Alec Pierce. I like his prospects this year. He's a high, target type of wide receiver, more of like a slot guy. So let's see how about this Cowboys guy goes. So he took Tajay Spears. Let's go Musgrave. Let's fill that position of need, right? Take our backup tight end. No overlap with the bye weeks. We're up in 4 picks, and we're likely looking at a Brock Purdy. I don't hate taking him as our backup quarterback. If he goes off the board, right, Isaiah Hodgins, right, I was mentioning before, I don't hate taking him there either. In terms of our back-to-back picks, we still need a quarterback, but I don't want to force one in. And I don't hate taking another running back. So let's put Zamir White in there. Let's see. So let's take Zamir White as our first pick, right? We've got back-to-back picks here. And our second pick, I might go Chark. Or I guess Rondale Moore, right? Like, I'm not a fan of him, but we're getting so much value. Okay, so we're going to take Hodgins. I'm going to take care of this draft. And then Zamir White, right? We know we won, so I'm going to take Zamir White. If for some reason, Jacobs were to get hurt, right, that would be insane value on a player that you're getting in round 15. And then our next pick, I really want to add a wide receiver. So, like I said, I don't love Rondale Moore, but we're getting him at value, and who knows, right? He's the type of wide receiver that doesn't need a really good quarterback, right? Rondale Moore, most of his targets last year, no matter who the quarterback was, were like behind the line of scrimmage or like within 1 to 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Like it was a meme at some point that he had like 0 air yards there for Rondale Moore. Actually had like negative air yards in one of the games that he was playing. And if no matter who he has out there, it could be Joshua Dobbs. Maybe they bring in Colt McCoy somehow again, right? If Dobbs were to go down, I think he's still going to put up decent points, right? He's like a gadget guy. So, I'm talking myself into the pick. We're going to take Rondale Moore. What do I think about Dobbs being the potential card starter? Crazy. It's crazy. He used to be our backup over for the Steelers. Really smart guy. He's literally a rocket scientist, but not a good quarterback at all. I do wish Underdog was 20 rounds like Draftkings. Yeah, there are a few late rounders I wish I could be getting to, especially since you can't make any in-season moves. Yeah, everyone has to play with it, though, so it's not horrible, but I agree with you. It would be nice. Let's see. So we're towards the end of both of these drafts. We're going to do another 2-banger afterwards. So we're going to take like a minute or 2 break, collect ourselves a little bit, and then we're going to do the madness once again. Which I've been doing this all day, right? I've been trying to get as many drafts in as humanly possible. So I'm used to it, but it can be a little bit overwhelming, right? Especially if you're watching. So I totally get it. So we've got 2 tight ends. We've got 2 quarterbacks on this draft. So I guess we don't need a Brock Purdy, but if he's going to be there at 156, I don't hate that. Like I'll take the value. I'll take the 3rd quarterback if we need to. But we've got 10 picks to go. So there's 0 to little chance that he's still there. Yep. Let's see. Over on the other draft, once again, pretty balanced build, but we do need a quarterback. So if we're going to get Kyler Murray as our last draft pick, I don't hate it. I'll do it. We'll go with it if we need to. Or I guess one of our last 2 picks. 8 picks away on both. We could go running back. We could take like a Singletary or Zamir White. See, Deuce Vaughn made the roster. That's correct. Let's see. See how this shakes out. Over here, yeah, Kyler Murray's in that. But, he might go off the board. If we have to take another quarterback with one of our last 2 picks, which we do, right? We only have one there with Kirk Cousins. Tannehill, Jimmy Garoppolo, right? We could take one of those 2 there. Murray, I actually do prefer because if he comes back, and it is still a huge if, right? He's on the PUP list as of right now. There he goes. Don't have to make that decision. He has a high ceiling right towards the end of the year. He could start playing pretty well. So we're 4 picks away over here. All the quarterbacks went off the board that I would have taken. So we'll have to see who's left. I kind of want to take one of the running backs up here. Because I know we have like 4 decent running backs, but ideally we should have like 5, 6 on our roster. So there goes Hall, right? That's the Indy, I guess, 2nd stringer now. After some of the recent news, I should have considered him. I need to add him. I need to bump him on my rankings, which speaking of, we'll do actually right after this draft. So do I want to take Deuce Vaughn? Let's take Vaughn, assuming that maybe Pollard gets injured. Who knows? Crazy shit happens. It's football. We probably taking Garoppolo here. And then our other pick, let's take Ross. Actually, do we already have a Kansas City wide receiver? We do. You can take a second one. That's okay. So we're going to go Garoppolo and Ross there. And then over here with our 17th pick in the other draft, we're done with this draft. We're going to take one of these running backs, right? Just depends on which one's available. If we can take Foreman, that's probably my first choice. We can take White again if we need to. Because we took him on the other draft, right? I'm a little bit less likely to get there. And then for our last draft pick, I'm either going to take Rashid Shaheed. Actually, maybe we take Shaheed now, right? Because he's not going to last. And then maybe we take one of the running backs afterwards, whichever one's available. Let's see. Let's see if we get sniped on Shaheed. Because, I don't know, he's normally off the board by now. That's for damn sure. Right? We're getting him after ADP. And he's a hell of an explosive player. Let's go. We got Shaheed there. Let's go. Okay, good stuff. So we're able to lock that one in. We've got one more draft pick here. And we need just to add one more reserve running back, right? Let's add a 6th running back, especially because, we have 2 studs, but we want guys that potentially could have the starting job there during the playoffs. Foreman, right? You can have Herbert go, down ahead of him. You can have Josh Jacobs go down and have Zamir White having a pretty big workload towards the end of the year, especially because I don't know. I don't think Chicago is going to be very good. I really don't think the Raiders are going to be very good. So, if either one gets slightly hurt, right, it's not even like it has to be like a true big injury. They might just shut them down, right, and go to one of these backup running backs. It makes me perhaps like them even more for those last few weeks. So let's see. Let's see who we can take there. I do Underdog Golf on Best Ball. I do. So a few top 5s and GPPs, no actual big takedowns, except for some of the smaller drafts, of course, right? Those are pretty easy to take down. But in terms of main GPPs, still working on that, but still just dipping my toes into the water over there. So there's huge edges, Todd. The rankings for golf are completely off when it comes to their rankings. So if you do your own projections like I do, which is very simple, right? I just take my golf projections for Draftkings, change the point values to align with Underdog. And then we've got my projections. It works out pretty good. Yeah, Hall. I wish I saw that before. I would have for sure. Is Team Europe an auto lock for the Cup? I got them at plus 180. I really liked that number, Evan, but I wouldn't call them an auto lock, right? The American team is still extremely talented, way more talented, in fact, than what you have on Europe. But I do think they win. I do think Europe pulls it out. So yeah, I've got a bet at plus 180. It feels so unpatriotic, right? Going after the good old, red, white, and blue, but is what it is. I definitely think they lose. You like Jerome Ford could possibly have the Kareem Hunt role for the Browns. Sold me. I have no exposure yet, Crush. So especially because Zamir White's likely to go off the board, I don't hate it at all. Let's see. Is he still available? He went off the board. I should have seen it before I went Shaheed, right? He went the pick right after that. So I have some Gus Edwards exposure, so I'm not going to go there. Edwards, by the way, if Dobbins were to go down, Edwards is just a good running back. So I think that's a part of the reason I like Gus Edwards so much, right? Is I know he's productive when he does get time. Other than Zamir White, because I already have too much Gus Edwards exposure, you do Kyron Williams, I suppose. I mean, other than that, a lot of these, like I guess Zach Moss, I mean, he's out 6 weeks, it says. I mean, realistically, right? Is this Hall guy going to actually be like that number 2 running back? Or when Zach Moss comes back, does he take that job? Like, I guess you could take Zach Moss. Like, he could be an option, but I don't know. I'm probably going to take Kyron Williams. My cat wants out of my room, so I'm going to go let my cat out real quick. Just give me 1 second. But let me know down in chat. Who would you guys take? Would you take Kyron Williams or would you take Zach Moss between those two? Come on. There you go. Somehow my cat got locked in here. I thought she was out, but now she's good. Let's see. So we're 6 picks away. I don't think either one's going to get drafted. So we'll probably have our pick of either Williams or Moss. Gus Edwards still at the top of the board. I mean, we're getting him 30 after ADP. Is it that bad to take even more exposure? Like, realistically, right? If I was going to take best player available, it would be Gus Edwards. And I have a ton of exposure because I think he's like a really good play this year, especially behind a guy who has like multiple blown out knees. Oh, God, I'm doing it. If he's there, just out of principle, I'm taking Gus Edwards. If not, I think it's in this order, right? It'd be Edwards, Williams, then Moss for me. But oh boy, you're saying Moss? But yeah, I don't know if Edwards is there. I think I'm gonna take him. He shouldn't be, right? He's 30 below ADP, and in my opinion, like he is the clear number 2, right? Zach Moss doesn't, right? Kyron Williams, like maybe even not, right? Yeah, we're going Gus Edwards. That I don't understand. Am I missing something on Gus Edwards? Is he injured out of nowhere and I don't know? Like I've been pretty plugged in, so that would really surprise me. But 30 below ADP or almost 30 below ADP, and I think the clear number 2 on that team, make it make sense. So, all right, that's it on that draft. Let's go ahead and start 2 more. So give me 1 second to get into those, and then we'll share them and get hopping right into it. I know I said we were going to take a break, but we're not. We still have like a minute and a half in between the drafts. So we'll go ahead with that. So let's see. In terms of props, let's go ahead and bring up the prop board and look through some of that, right? While these drafts go ahead and fill. So PGA board doesn't exist, right? There's no PGA board this week. Any Eurogolf board? I guess not. So that's kind of unfortunate. It's our off season for golf these next few weeks. So that's kind of unfortunate. But for week 1 props, right? I think these, the Detroit Kansas City game, right? They're going to get a lot of attention. The props seem pretty fair for that. So I'm not a huge fan of going out there and trying to play these props. At least as of right now, I don't have any huge leans. The ones I was looking at least early, I was looking at the Amon-Ra St. Brown early over there. But that got bumped up just a little bit. I think it was 70.5 last night. So I'm not sure if I would still take that. And then you guys may have seen that AJ Brown prop that I had on there. I was considering taking that too, right? That's not for the opening night there on Thursday. That's for the Sunday slate, but at 63.5, he covered that in like 14 games last year. Actually, I think it was like 13 of 17 regular season games. AJ Brown covered that prop. So if there's anything I'm like really sold on that I still need to play and find a pairing for, it's this AJ Brown prop. Now, New England, pretty good defense, right? Bill Belichick, right, knows how to shut down some wide receivers. But when the guy's covering in like 13, maybe it even is 14, right? Actually, it might even be 14 out of the 17 games. That's absurd. Like that's just, at least in my opinion, it's an inefficient projection, right? To have somebody at that. So let's keep AJ Brown in there. If you guys have any hot takes on props, feel free to let me know what you guys are thinking, because I'm looking for a pair with that AJ Brown prop. It's at least in my opinion, that's the best prop on the board. Over here on Prize Picks, do they even have him on the board? I thought he was at like the same number, and I didn't really understand it. Where's AJ Brown? I know I'm blind. He's got to be on the board, right? Yeah, there he is, 68.5. So he's at 5 yards higher, right, than what they have in Underdog. And then even this number on Prize Picks, I believe he covered it in like 12 or 13 of the 17 games last year. So if you wanted to take the over on Prize Picks, you still could. But why would you, right, when we have that 5-yard discrepancy here? Speaking of, we have the drafts to worry about. We have pick 11 in one, and we have pick 11 in the other. So we're in the same spot of both drafts, which is, I don't know if it's convenient or not, right? We're going to be in a similar situation on both drafts, but let's see how we can play this. So I'm kind of hoping that Stephon Diggs falls to us. Maybe an Austin Eckler too, right? One of those 2 players. If they go over these next 2 picks, which would be predictable, we're probably going to go CD Lamb. I like CD Lamb there around 11 or around 12. I think that, in that Cowboys offense, he has plenty of opportunity, but let's see what we get here, right? Maybe we get somebody to fall. So there goes Diggs. So here probably goes Eckler. If not, we'll take him. That's for damn sure, but let's see what happens here. So there goes Eckler. We're going to go with CD Lamb. We're going to go that direction. Over here on the other draft, we're 2 picks away from our first pick. Bijan Robinson, right, is somebody that we could consider taking. but he just went off the board. So scratch that. We might be taking CD Lamb again. Let's see. We're already up for our second pick over here. I'm going to go ahead and take Nick Chubb. I have no problems taking Nick Chubb at 14. In this draft for our first pick, we're going to actually... Yeah, we're going to take CD Lamb. We're going to take the same pick. So we'll see what happens with this guy with his back-to-back picks here. That'll dictate our strategy for number 2. So he went Nick Chubb at 12. Okay, that's fine. And then he wants to Saquon Barkley. Perfect. Okay. So we went CD Lamb, Amon-Ra, St. Brown. I feel great about that. So 2 stud wide receivers to start back-to-back. Both decent in terms of ADP, right? We didn't get values with either one, but both guys that I am prioritizing this year as clear number ones in highly efficient, highly productive offenses, right? Not only are they just good, decent wide receivers, right? Like a lot of the other top end fantasy options, right? They're in really good offenses. That's why I don't like Bijan Robinson, right? Like of the top end draft picks, like he's the only one in a shitty offense, right? Like that's why I don't have very much of them this year. So that's, I guess, outside of him, everyone else kind of fits the description. So we've got about 16 picks to wait. So I guess that's the issue, right? Of having the same draft pick for both drafts. But I guess it gives us a little bit of time in between to kind of figure out what we're going to do. So, one draft we went 2 wide receivers. One we went 1-1 between running backs and wide receivers. We could really do anything we want here. So we're going to be looking in like that 30 ADP range for our pick, maybe like 33 to 35. Some of my favorite targets down there, a DK Metcalf sticks out. Jamar Gibbs, right? He's somebody I'm probably going to want to consider. Over here for our other draft, right? It's the same thing, right? We're going to be in that same draft range. Probably like a Metcalf or a Gibbs. Right? Those would be some of my top end options. So we'll have to see who's available and who actually falls to us over here in this draft. But those are the guys I have my eye on at this stage. So there goes Jalen Waddle. Love him this year. Taking him in as many drafts as humanly possible. Bijan third string. I don't think he's third string. Lamar Jackson's yards are slow to you on the prop. Let's see. His rushing yards prop, I'm assuming, right? He's at 54.5. I don't know. I don't know about that. Like, I'd have to look at the game log, but like 54 yards for Lamar Jackson in a game that they're probably going to be spanking the Houston Texans on, I'm not so sure of. Like, because he doesn't use his legs if he doesn't have to. Like, if they're just spanking them, like, he's not going to be running a whole lot. I'm a little hesitant there. I thought I was going to be like 40 or something like that. You're saying passing yards? Okay. Let's see. What's his passing yard prop? 211? I could see that. Yeah, because like 211 seems pretty fair. Okay. I could see that for sure. Maybe we'll consider adding that. I got to look at the game slip for you, the game log and whatnot. And see, Edwards is an easy pick right there. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Hall's a rookie. Yeah, you never know his upside, right? That's the thing with Hall, right? We don't know how good he's going to be. That's a huge thing for actually wanting to pick him. So we're up here in 3 picks. Let's figure out what we're going to do here. Then I'll get back down to chat, guys. Right? We've got 2 drafts going on, so it's tough to stay completely on top of that. We still have Gibbs available in this one. So if he's going to be there, right, we've got to survive 2 more picks here. I might go that direction. Mixon just went off the board. There goes Cooper. So we'll take Gibbs, right? I was kind of hoping that we'd be able to take him there. So we'll definitely take advantage. So we have 2 running backs now, which again, I'm not huge on taking 2 running backs early. But if I'm going to get 2 guys I really like, I'll do so, right? I'll make it work. So for our next pick here, we are going to take wide receiver. I'm going to go with Christian Watson just because I want more exposure there. High upside player that's capable of scoring 2 touchdowns in a game. You saw that multiple times last year, right? Deep bombs from Aaron Rodgers. While I do think the quarterback play is going to go down right now that he has Jordan Love throwing him the ball, but I don't know if it's going to be atrocious, right? He's not going to be like the, what's a good team? The Falcons, right? It's not going to be like the Falcons offense. Which should be pretty atrocious out there this year. Over 3 picks from now, we're going with our 3rd draft choice. And we're probably looking at running back, but definitely not taking Jonathan Taylor, right? So, Lamar Jackson is there. We could take Lamar. It's not the worst pick. Or we could go with perhaps Travis Etienne, perhaps going with the Najee Harris. I don't hate the idea of either one. So let's figure this out. This is Lamar Jackson might be the move. But there goes Lamar, you dirty dog. Stole him from me 1 pick before. So let's go ahead and take Travis Etienne. And then for our next draft pick, I'm going to take Najee Harris if he's there. We're gonna take care of running back in both of our drafts. We're gonna do the deed early, right? We're not going to be worrying about these mid-tier running backs. So rather than last draft where we were kind of more balanced at the running back position, we're a little bit top heavy here, right? We have Chubb and Gibbs in one. We went Etienne and Harris in the other. So now we could just fire away at wide receivers, right? We're at a similar position on both drafts, which is going to help us out here, right? We're not trying to think through our strategy as much, where we have 2 consecutive drafts going on, just hammering some of that mid-tier wide receiver value. So we're 10 picks away over here. We'll see who's available when our pick comes around, but it'll likely be a bunch of wide receivers for me. Let's see. Oh, it's 211. It was 201 earlier today. Yeah, 201. I probably would have already bet that. So definitely a good call. You saw today that the Falcons had Algier 2 and Patterson 1 and Bijan 3. Yeah, I'm pretty sure by the end of the year, that doesn't last, right? There's a reason why people are taking him as a top 10 fantasy pick. So that's interesting to see. And especially because I have no exposure to Bijan Robinson, that kind of makes me smile a little bit. But especially because I have Cordarrelle Patterson exposure towards the bottom of my player pool. But yeah, I doubt that lasts, right? I doubt Cordarrelle Patterson's getting all the touches. I would love that. Trust me, don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's going to happen. That'd be huge. I have Patterson in like 35% of my builds as like my last man in, which if that actually happened, that would be insanely lucky for me. I'd be like the luckiest man alive. But there's 0 shot. So let's see. So DeAndre Hopkins is still available. That is interesting to say the least. There are actually a few wide receivers here that I really like. So it looks like we're going to be able to take at least one of them, unless they go back to back here. I'm not even going to say who they are in case somebody's here listening. So let's see what happens over these next 2 picks. For SHE'd and then Fack, which is a great name, by the way. Fack right there. He's got the experienced badge. That's funny. So there goes Pierce. Didn't take wide receiver. There we go. So we're going to get at least one of them. So he took Hopkins. That's okay. I can take George Pickens. That's just fine. He's the one I wanted the most. So we get my boy George Pickens. If you weren't here yesterday, I did a whole rant on why I like George Pickens. Guy is freakishly talented. He's Pickett's #1 target, especially in the red zone, and frankly has top 15 wide receiver upside, top 10 upside if he's truly as good as I think he could be. But based on where he's being drafted is a huge steal. That's the fact of the matter. So I think he should be drafted way, way earlier than he is. So I like that pick. Let's see if we can take another wide receiver. See, there goes Chris Kirk. We could take a Kittle. In fact, that's what we're going to do there. So we're going to take care of the tight end spot. Go ahead and add in a Kittle, an elite tier tight end, and move on to our other draft. So we're going to have nearly back-to-back picks once again over here in 7 picks. So we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do here. Similar position to the other draft and a couple elite tier quarterbacks that are hanging on the board. So perhaps we can take something like a Fields or a Herbert. It feels like they're likely to get drafted, though, so that's a little bit of a pipe dream. George Pickens is in the fold once again, who actually just went off the board. So scratch that. But a Kirk, McLaurin all makes sense. Hawkinson's on the board. George Kittle down there, too. We'll have to see how this works out here. Pickens is going off. Yep. College football props are going to be a hit this season. He took Gophers running back under 107 yards. They yanked it, and he's up for 78.5 yards now. That's pretty crazy. He didn't send it to me today, though, Travis. So what are you doing there? You got to share the goods. You can't be flexing and not sharing it. You wish Alabama would get their crap together. You're tired of driving to Florida to place bets. That would be annoying. That's for damn sure. Pickens over JJ, according to some. Yeah, according to Ryan Clark, huh? Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy talk, by the way. Ryan Clark saying that. He is freakishly talented, but he's not better than Justin Jefferson. I think what he was saying about the talent might actually be true about the catching the ball, right? But not about playing wide receiver, right? There's a huge difference between just catching balls and being a freak that's, gets 150 yards a week. There's a huge difference. So let's see. So we can go tight end again, right? We went Kittle in the other draft. We'll go ahead and take Hawkinson over here. So a little bit of better value. And then for our next draft pick, I'm probably going to take one of the wide receivers available. So we'll see what this guy takes back to back, but definitely a few guys that I'm eyeing up right here. Let's see. I wish you would have told me about that under on that prop, right? We could have mixed it in with AJ Brown here. Damn. It was probably earlier in the day, huh? So he went Trevor Lawrence and he went Terry McLaurin there. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and take Chris Godwin, right? I know he's coming back off an injury, right? I know he might be a little bit sketchy when it comes to the health, not the best quarterback play, but he's a, high target player, right? In an offense that shouldn't be, I don't know, it'll probably be like a bottom 10 offense, but it's not going to be like a complete dumpster fire. At least I'm hoping it won't be right there for the Buccaneers. So we'll see. Over here in the other draft, we're up in 7 picks. So we've got to start thinking about a quarterback, but we'd be fishing for one once again. For some reason, these guys are taking quarterbacks super early again. We've got a bunch of wide receivers available, though. Also a few running backs that I really like. So I'm liking what we're going to be doing here with these next 2 picks. There are more than a handful of guys that I want to draft. So I'm not going to call them out just in case anyone's watching the stream and trying to snipe me out there. But yeah, there's like 4 or 5 guys here that I really like. So let's see who actually survives the carnage. You got a favorite college team? Yeah, definitely Pitt, right? My alma mater. So I'm a graduate from there. So definitely like Pitt. But Notre Dame is another team that I just really like. And I guess University of Miami, you could throw in there too. It was up for 5 minutes. There you go. You almost didn't even get it in yourself. Yeah, they're like that on Underdog, huh? They don't like to honor those props very much. So 3 more picks to go. Sun went off the board. Same thing with Addison. Those were 2 of the players that I was eyeing. So I don't love that. Same thing with Akers. Oh boy. They're going on a run on the players that I wanted. Let's see who survives. So we got 2 picks left. Oh boy. Come on now. Let's not take all the guys I'm trying to draft, especially if you're watching the live stream. Let's not do that to your boy. So there goes Rachaad White, another one. And there goes Javonte Williams, another one of the picks that I wanted to get to. So that's a little bit annoying, a little unfortunate, but let's go ahead and take Michael Pittman. It was one of the guys I was trying to get to. And then hopefully one of them is still left after this UA2 guy goes back to back. That was unfortunate. All those running backs there, I would have taken any of them as my 3rd man in. I 100% would have. But wide receiver, you can never have too many, so it's okay. We definitely knew where the pivot was. And so we went Quentin Johnston. So, yeah, we're probably going to take like James Conner here. Maybe an Alvin Kamara. Probably one of those 2. I'd be open to hearing Dalvin Cook arguments, but yeah, those 2 would probably be my main targets there. So he went with Kamara. We'll go with James Conner. So pretty straightforward thought process there, right? We need another running back to mix in with a Gibbs and Chubb. And we're getting a starter on a team that's maybe not as productive, but it doesn't overlap with our bye weeks. And he's at least going to get some target share, right? He's going to get 15 to 20 touches seemingly every single week, which is huge for best ball. So went ahead, locked in our 3rd running back, and we can take a look at the other draft. So in this other draft, we still only have 2 running backs. So we're a little bit behind, right? The other draft that we've got going. And we still got Jonathan Taylor on the board, right? He obviously got drafted in the other one. We're at pick 74, and Jonathan Taylor is still there. So we've got to start to think about when we're drafting him, because honestly, in this range, I think I want to take him, right? If he's on the board when it comes to our pick, I'm taking Jonathan Taylor. And there's a huge game theory idea here, right? Essentially, the thought process is if Jonathan Taylor plays for any team, right, like the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season, he's almost like a must-have, right? He's like a top 5 fantasy running back, pretty much no matter what team he's going to be on. So keeping that in mind, even if he only has like a 10, 15% chance of playing this year, which I think is maybe even a little low, it's probably like 25 to like 40% chance that he plays this year, he could be massively undervalued, right? Now, the caveat here is we know he's not going to play early, right? He's probably not going to play a lot of snaps when he first gets to that team. So he's only really going to be valuable if you make the playoffs, right? He's not going to be one of your bell cow backs that gets you into that playoffs, but he could be the guy that wins you in the playoffs, right? That takes you to, that final round with like 50 to 100 entries where you're playing for all the big money up top. He might win you that week, right? That's the idea with Jonathan Taylor. So if he's still there, I think I'm going to do it. I might take Miles Sanders first, but we almost have back-to-back picks, right? Maybe with our second pick, we take Jonathan Taylor. But, I don't hate the idea at all. He has that upside, right? From the game theory edge, he could win you the most important weeks of the year. Oh, and there he goes. This guy auto-drafted and picked Jonathan Taylor. He ran out of time and picked him. That is so annoying, but that's okay. You can take a more safe approach here, right? And take Miles Sanders and then some sort of wide receiver after, probably. Let's see. Are we going to get sniped? That's always a possibility. Happens a lot when we go live. I wonder why. Come on, True. Let's see what you got going on. Hopefully not a Miles Sanders pick. Oof. There goes Miles Sanders, the gut punch. But yeah, we could take Cam Akers well above ADP. So I don't have an issue getting that direction. Similar value to a Miles Sanders. But now we got to look at wide receivers. So Kyle Pitts, oh boy. I haven't drafted him once, but yeah, I'm not doing it again. Nope. We're not going to take Kyle Pitts. So Elijah Moore, probably towards the top of my list. We could go down, take another running back if we really wanted to. It would just be such a strong running back start that it's probably a little overkill. So let's look at the other draft. Let's figure out what we're doing here. We're up in 2 picks over here, and we're on the clock over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and take Elijah Moore, lock in another wide receiver. Does have the same bye week as Chris Godwin, but that's okay. That's not that troublesome yet. In our other draft, we're probably looking at a quarterback. So we don't have one yet. And pretty much everyone after us, look at this, doesn't have a quarterback, right? These UAE, well, it's only one guy, right? UA2 doesn't have one. So he's going to take a quarterback. We know that pretty much. So we're going to need to take one right now. So between all of these quarterbacks, the one that I like the most is Daniel Jones. I already talked about his rushing upside before. So he's going to be our first pick. Our next play is a little bit more up in the air, right? Like Antonio Gibson, like I don't love this year, right? So going down to a wide receiver makes some sense. We could even take another tight end like a Dalton Kinlaid. I don't even know how to say his last name. I'm just going to call him Dalton Kincaid. No idea. Either way, stud rookie receiving type of tight end. He might be our next pickup. So let's see what this UA2 guy does. I mean, we could go with Zach Charbonnet. I believe that's how you say his name. Another rookie over there for Seattle. That, he's not going to be the lead back, right? That's Kenneth Walker, but he's going to be mixed in at least a little bit. Perhaps could get the starting job if there would be an injury with Kenneth Walker, who again is also injury prone. So yeah, maybe we take the rookie, right? Maybe we take a shot on the kid. But I also kind of want to take the stud tight end playing with Josh Allen. Like we're not going to get the chance to, right? We're not picking for like 20 picks. So if there's anyone down here that I want to prioritize, we've kind of got to do it now. So I'm stuck between rookie running back and rookie tight end. Both of them, in my opinion, have an opportunity to be something special. We already have George Kittle, so I kind of want to go with running back. Yeah, we're going to take rookie Seattle running back, Charbonnet. I have no idea if that's how you say his last name. That's what we're going to go with right now. Maybe it's Charbonnet. But I like his upside, right? If Walker were to go down, right, he'd be the lead back for our rush first team. It speaks ceiling performances to me. So it gets me excited, right, for him potentially going off in the playoffs, right? Like running back is just a war of attrition, right? You get beat up as the year goes on. Maybe he's the fresher back, right, for those last 4 to 5 weeks. Did I get that chase prop in? I did, for sure. I took him with Tyreek Hill, 5.5 receptions. So Tyreek Hill was also at that same number, covered in like 12 of 17 games. So that's what I mixed up with that one. Some of these live baseball props are wild, but of course you can never bet them. Yeah, they really, first off, it's hard to even get them in if you're in a legal state, right? Let alone for you having to drive to Florida. It's tough, man. They go up and down like every 30 seconds. It's crazy. Dalton Kincaid now is how it's pronounced. Cool. Watched a ton of him last year with Utah. Yeah, I've heard really good things about his game. I've heard that he's going to stretch the field for him. And honestly, I hate to be that guy. Dalton Knox is like a terrible, terrible tight end. I can't even think of how much an improvement it's going to be. Like it's going to be 9-day difference, right? So if people are looking at the rookie, right, and saying like, oh, he's going to be just like Dalton Knox. No. He's going to be Dalton Knox plus a lot, right? He's going to be a lot better in my opinion. So I think whoever got him is going to feel pretty good about it. This Grinch guy, right, took him there at 117. He's going to be an absolute stud. I tend to agree with that. So we're up here in 4 picks. So we've got 1 tight end over here. No quarterbacks yet. So look at that. My favorite guy, Anthony Richardson, is still available. Not going to do it again, right? We've got to differentiate a little bit out here. So for our next pick, wide receiver is what I'd prefer to go with. So we can go Romeo Dubes. We can go with Odell Beckham, right, like we did before. Either one's a decent option. If we wanted to fish a little bit, right, try and get a little creative, we could go down for like Jamison Williams, who I do think is going to have a really decent year, but let's see. We're probably going to be a little bit less creative about it, right? A little bit less crazy about our exposure here. So let's see who True takes. I'm not taking Richardson. Anyone else can have him. Look at all these quarterbacks that they've drafted. It's just disgusting. So yeah, they took Beckham. Okay, that's okay. We'll go with Romeo Dubes. We're up in 2 picks and might go backup tight end. Might go Pat Freiermuth as our second tight end. Might take a quarterback. Could always go Dak Prescott or Daniel Jones. Let's see what happens here. So he went Juju Smith-Schuster. Yeah, as of right now, I'm looking at Dak Prescott. Looking at taking him, right? We've got CeeDee Lamb. Maybe we could try and take like Jake Ferguson or Michael Gallup, right, at wide receiver, tight end. Try and make it a little stack. Let's see what happens here. Are you going to take a third quarterback? That'd be quite something. If you took Dak Prescott here. Took Jawan Johnson. Okay, perfect. So we got Dak Prescott there. So we're starting a little Cowboy stack that we can explore. We'll have to circle back on that one, see if we can complete it. So back over here, 2 picks from now, we'll be drafting, and we're mostly looking at wide receiver at this point, right? We're going to be picking wide receiver for probably the next 2-3 rounds. There goes Alan Lazard. We do have Jacoby Myers on the board. We could go Darnell Mooney, who he's an okay play, right? He's not my favorite. Or we could double stack quarterback, right? I don't think this is a horrible time to try and double stack up quarterback. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do here. So we could go Kirk Cousins, right? This isn't the draft that we have Hawkinson on, so wouldn't give us any correlation there. Neither would an Aaron Rodgers or a Jared Goff, for that matter, right? Because Gibbs, right? I know he's a running back. Let's just go ahead and take Kirk Cousins then. Just take the best player in terms of value. So we'll add him as a second quarterback, right? We'll be using, oh boy. All right. So we made a mistake there. We took 2 players with a week 13 bye. So we're just going to need a third quarterback. It's okay. So this will be a 3 quarterback draft over here. But yeah, that you don't want to do that ideally, right? We should have probably taken Aaron Rodgers or Jared Goff. But that's on me for fucking that one up. So let's go ahead and add Moody in there. And look at the other draft. Boy, oh boy. Don't be a slappy like me and put the 2/13 bye weeks there. That is not a good number either. This lineup, I have to say, is probably doomed, right? We've got the double bye week on 13. Just not a good look. All right, so we've got, 14 picks to our next draft pick. We're only in round 10 for this draft, and over here we're on round 12. So we started them at the same time. These guys are drafting significantly quicker than the other draft. Got to get a little chop on it, huh? Got to get this draft in. So double quarterback back-to-back there. Could have seen that coming. So 12 picks to go. Probably looking at one more running back, then trying to stack up some wide receivers. If we're going to take a running back, I don't hate the idea of really any of these guys. We'll have to see who's available, but P. Ryan just went. We also had Williams on the board. Those would have been great, but also a pipe dream, right? That kind of ADP. Let's see. These guys are taking forever to draft on this second tab here. Like this guy just took, I know he's drafting back-to-back, so we can give this Croyle guy a little bit of, leeway. But the rest of these guys, especially like the guy with the shield, like, let's get drafting, buddy. You're highly experienced, right? Draft bot over here, right? You're highly experienced. Sea Dog over here, for that matter. You guys are supposed to be highly experienced players. Let's act like it, right? Let's get to drafting. 1-4-4-1. Okay. The only one that looks like a complete idiot when it comes to lineup construction is the guy with 3 quarterbacks. Like that, I just do not understand. Like 3 quarterbacks this early, like 3 quarterbacks at the end of the draft, okay, but not this early. Let's see. The highly experienced guy taking the entire clock to draft Jacoby Myers. Like imagine. Like not even to draft somebody that's like good, it's to draft Jacoby Myers. So we've got 5 picks. Got Aaron Rodgers available, so we could go that double quarterback strategy. Unfortunately, that would be a double 7 bye week, so we're not going to do that. Jared Goff, probably the guy we should take. We're up in 8 picks over here because, again, they're so much quicker than the other draft that we've got going. So let's figure out what we're going to do over here. Ideally, I still want to stack up wide receivers. So we could go Van Jefferson. I've heard a lot of good things about him out of camp. I really like KJ Osborne this year, so he kind of sticks out to me. I mean, even Jonathan Mingo, the rookie wide receiver. So let's throw those 3 in there. In terms of this draft, some of the running backs I wanted to take just got drafted, but still a few guys we could take. We could go a second quarterback, right? Jared Goff. We could take Jamison Williams, right? I know he's injured, but we could probably see him like week 2, if not even week 1. He might not be 100% early, but right, like we're not that worried about the first few weeks, right? We're much more worried about the playoffs, last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. There goes Darnell Mooney. There goes Laporta. Let's go ahead and take Jared Goff. Let's take our backup quarterback position. And then for our next draft pick, we're either going to go with Schultz or Higbee or potentially Bigsby if he's still there. We'll have to see what happens. Because we could handcuff Travis Etienne, right? There goes Hyatt. Really liked Hyatt this year. And there goes Bigsby. Okay, so he sniped Bigsby off the board. That's kind of unfortunate. But let's go ahead and take Jamison Williams, right? I still think that's a decent pick. And then we're up here in one play. Are we up now? There we go. We're up right now. Let's go ahead and put Let's put Van Jefferson in. And then for our next draft pick in 2 here, I either want to take Osborne or Mingo. One of those 2. Let's see. Any hot takes when it comes to the props over there for week 1, by the way? Because I'm trying to find a pair for that A.J. Brown prop. Let's go ahead and throw KJ Osborne here. Both of them were available, so let's go KJ Osborne. So wide receivers looking decent. Probably need 1 or 2 more of these mid-tier wide receivers to round off this draft. Over here, I would say pretty decent start too. We probably need at least 1 more running back to feel good about that position. But yeah, if you guys can't tell, right, I'm much more worried about my running backs and wide receivers than my quarterbacks and tight ends, right? Unless I'm going to be handed a piece of really solid value on an elite tier quarterback and elite tier tight end, probably not drafting them, right? To me, if you're going to take reaches on anyone, it's wide receivers, running backs with spike performance upside, and then trying to build from that on outwards, right? So maybe you get a few pieces of value from the Cowboys, right? And then you try and make a Dak Prescott stack, right, out there. That's how I handle these drafts. I'm much more, just reacting live, right? I'm not reaching and trying to take stacks, 1-2 rounds early. To me, that's not the way to build the, best portfolio of lineups, right? Like you can build very targeted lineups, right? Going after specific stacks. The unfortunate part is that you're giving up so much value on those that the rest of your team sucks, right? Whereas if you kind of just react as the draft happens, then you can build lineups that not only have correlation, right? If you happen to, be able to build one of those lineups, but also has value, right? You're also taking players at decent ADP positions. So that's my take on that for sure, is to not go crazy with the correlation. I just think that sometimes people overdo that a little bit. So we've got 4 rounds left over here on our first draft. Second draft, we're still 6 left because these guys are slow pokes, it seems. But yeah, about 8, 9 picks left for each of the drafts until we're up. So let's figure out what we're going to do here. So still looking at mostly wide receivers. This is the part of the draft where I'm trying to just take guys that are getting snaps, where I can go out there, have a ceiling week. Michael Gallup kind of sticks out for me over here, but he just got drafted, unfortunately. We're up in 5 picks on both. So let's throw a few in there. Let's throw Tank Dell in. Let's throw Rondale Moore in. Over here, let's throw Alec Pierce. And I guess we need another tight end. And we're getting well above ADP value. So I might just throw in Tyler Higbee. He might be the pick we go with over here. But yeah, Rondale Moore kind of sticks out. Tank Dell, or I kind of wish I had more Tank Dell exposure. So maybe I go with him instead. Let's see. You can always get taken off the board, right? Still 3 picks to go. Can't count our eggs before they hatch, or chickens before they hatch. One more pick. Come on, let me get Higbee out here. Don't be sniping me on all my picks. If not, that's okay. There's other guys we can take. But I would love to get some Tyler Higbee here. Especially because you have 2 tight ends. You don't need a third. Like that'd be blasphemous, right? To go with another tight end. Oh God, are you gonna auto draft him? There's no way. Oh, okay, thank goodness. I was gonna say there's no way you're gonna auto draft another tight end. So we were able to get Tyler Higbee like I wanted. Let's see what happens over here with this fat guy. All right, let's take Rondale Moore. Go ahead and go with Rondale. So decent value, really the guy that I had my eye on there. And then over with this draft, I want a wide receiver. So we're not going to take Rondale Moore. We're going to take Jaden Reed, right? Rookie playing with a completely new quarterback. I think that whole Green Bay offense is a little bit of an unknown, right? If Jordan Love ends up being a good quarterback, it could be a lot more competitive than a lot of people think. Over here, we're going to take Taysom Hill as our second tight end. So obviously, George Kittle is going to be the starter most weeks. But by putting Taysom Hill in there, right, it gives us some spike week upside, particularly if maybe he plays quarterback, right, or goes out there, gets us that long touchdown that he seemingly does a few times every year. I'd like that as your backup tight end, right, as like a Taysom Hill. We're probably going to need another tight end just because he doesn't always have consistent production, right, like particularly during George Kittle's bye week. But I still like the utility of taking a Taysom Hill. So we have a shit ton of wide receivers on this draft, just like we'd want to. We've got 2 draft picks left to work with. We probably want one more tight end, especially because we went with like a Taysom Hill. And then, yeah, one more quarterback, right? We need to fix this week 13 bye that I really should not have done to myself. So let's throw like a Garoppolo into the queue. And then for tight end, let's go ahead and throw like an Isaiah Likely in there, right? Maybe Mark Andrews gets hurt, right? And maybe Isaiah Likely is the starting tight end for the Ravens. High upside, really good receiving kind of tight end. Maybe it works out. Over here in this draft, we're okay at quarterback. I don't know if we need another one. Really at tight end, I kind of feel okay about it too. Like I don't know if we need a third at either position. What I'm more worried about here is running back, right? We only have 3, and it's not like we have 3 stud running backs. So in terms of like, we could take Hull, right? Evan Hull, I think is the one that I'll probably eye up the most here. I know somebody shouted out Jerome Ford before. I really like Clyde Edwards-Helaire because he's seemingly the number 2 running back on one of the best offenses in the NFL. Gus Edwards would be an obvious pick, or we could throw him towards the top up there. Kendre Miller would be a pretty obvious pick too. We need running backs in this draft, right? In fact, we might go running back, or at least one running back, right, for our next 2 picks. So let's see what happens here over the next few draft picks. Again, I feel pretty decent about our quarterback situation with Dak and Jared Goff. I feel pretty good about our tight end situation too. We just really got to shore up running back. It's becoming a clear issue with this draft. Let's see, where are we at now? If you guys have any hot takes with props, by the way, I'm still trying to find a pairing for this. I'm mostly thinking one of the opening day props as a pairing. Um, I almost took this prop. I think I told you guys earlier about the 70.5 on Amon-Ra St. Brown. It got bumped up a little bit, but like against Kansas City, you really have to think that the Lions are playing from behind and they're going to throw the ball a shit ton, right? And without having Jamison Williams 100%, I know he has Marvin Jones, who Josh Reynolds out there is another wide receiver. Brown is going to be that clear alpha dog. So I don't know. I'm definitely leaning the over on Amon-Ra. He's a stud. He's the sun god, as some would call him, and he's playing a team that we know is going to be kicking his ass most likely. Right? Kansas City is not going to go out there and suck week 1. I would be extremely surprised to see that. Let's see. We're up in 5 picks here. Looks like most of our running backs are still available, which I'm liking that look. I'm liking that. Don't need a tight end. Don't need a quarterback. So that's not all that intriguing. Over here with our pick 17, it's looking like we're probably going to be able to take one of the 2 guys I was eyeing up, if not both of them, for 17 and 18. But yeah, let's see what happens over there with that. There's Likely and there's Garoppolo. We could take Bryce Young. I thought he'd be drafted, so maybe we do go with Bryce. Yeah, maybe we do go Bryce Young. Don't hate that. Come on now, don't steal him. All right, so let's take Bryce Young. Didn't think he was going to be available. Then in 2 picks, we could go Zach Ertz. We could go Isaiah Likely. I'm probably going to go Likely just because I feel like if he actually starts over there for Baltimore, he has more upside, right, than like a Zach Ertz for a shitty Arizona team. But let's see what happens. Maybe he'll get drafted. There he goes. All right, let's take Likely with that draft. We're on the clock over here. It looks like Ford and Miller ended up getting drafted. I'm going to take Gus Edwards right there, right? Like I said, I'll always take him when we're able to get him above his ADP. And then hopefully might be able to take Evan Hall here too. But let's see what happens. Might get sniped on one of the 2, right? But hopefully the other one will still be there for us. Let's see. This Corona guy's got 5. So he took his sick years and so he had no tight ends. So he wanted, actually, sorry, he has 3 tight ends. Oh boy. This guy's lineup is a little bit AIDS, frankly. Like, yeah, not a big fan of this guy's lineup at all. Like, even his wide receivers are just like ugly. Yikes. Matthew Stafford. All right, we'll take Evan Hall. Knock him out of there. So we're up to 5 running backs on our second draft, right? We already finished that first draft. What I'm mostly looking at here for our last 2 rounds are just some sort of depth right at the skill position. So potentially getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire over here at wide receiver, Justin Ross. Really, those 2 are my main targets at this point. Both playing for Kansas City. That shouldn't be a surprise. We've already been over that multiple times. But also, first off, Ross secured his roster position today. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if you were to have Pacheco go down, like could be a 15 to 16, 17 fantasy point guy a week, right? If he would be the lead back for Kansas City. I think a lot of people don't remember that or don't realize that the upside is going to be there. So we're up in 16 picks. We have quite some time. It's a good time to look at this prop board. So I'm going to put the Amon-Ra St. Brown prop in there. At least keep it on the back burner. We could look at a Kansas City prop, of course. Over on that side, I wouldn't take one of these like shitty wide receivers. It just feels like a little bit too risky of a proposition. Maybe we do go with the Travis Kelce over, right? It feels like he's going to get a lot of attention. Maybe just the good old Patrick Mahomes over. Perhaps they post fantasy points at some point. We could go in that direction. It's, I don't know. This opening game, it feels like the lines are a little bit tighter than some of the other games posted here. Like this AJ Brown prop is like clear value. Let's see. Let's compare to Prize Picks, right? Let's see what they've got some of the guys out here. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, they've got it 76.5. So that's only a 3-yard discrepancy right now. It was closer to 6 just yesterday. And then what do they have Kelce at? So he's 78.5 on both sites. So no discrepancy there. Like I said, a little bit tighter, right? Those first game of the year props are a little bit, more accurately priced, I'd say. So they've still got Chase at 5.5. if you didn't get that one yesterday. Let's see what else we can find. Justin Jefferson, look, they bumped that up to 87.5. So I love the value that we got there, of course. They've got Addison up. Somebody mentioned that Lamar Jackson prop before. If that wasn't bumped, I'd probably consider it. Let's see, over there with San Fran. Yeah, probably not. Yeah, I'm not going to take any of the Steeler props. Already have Pickens exposure. I kind of want to see what Vegas does, right? We already took the Tyreek Hill prop there. There's already some exposure I've got in. I mostly want to compare to Vegas, right? They have a pretty good beat on what to expect, right? Especially early on in the year. And I kind of want to see what they're thinking. I know a lot of people are betting Justin Fields over. I think he was at like 55 yards yesterday. What is he on Prize Picks for his rushing yard prop? Let's see. Where's Justin Fields? Same number, actually. Yeah, so he got bumped up to the same number that he is on Prize Picks. That was an interesting take yesterday when he was before the bump, of course. So we've got 5 picks until we're up here. It looks like who got drafted? Ross got drafted. Okay. So that was definitely coming. Hopefully we can get Clyde here and then try and find one of these wide receivers to mix in. I don't hate the idea of taking like a Josh Mechie, right? One of those rookie wide receivers for Houston. We could go with like a Paris Campbell, a Michael Wilson, right? Another rookie wide receiver. Let's see what we end up getting offered here. Let's bring up the whole board. Make sure that there's no clear values that we're overlooking. Oh, I was looking at this Diggs prop yesterday. It looks pretty decent. What's his number on Prize Picks out of curiosity? He's at only 1 yard higher. So he must have been lower yesterday than the 72.5. I think he might have been like 70 yards yesterday. So yeah, maybe not the best value anymore. Okay, one more pick. Come on. Let's get CEH in here. Who God, he's been so disappointing since joining the league. But he plays for Kansas City. It's almost just enough for me right there. He's playing for what's going to be a top 5 offense, guaranteed. Let's see. Is he a likely? Cool. We'll take CEH. That'll definitely get it done. So we probably went wide receiver with our last pick here. And I'm really siding towards, rookie wide receiver. So let's go with that. We could go Paris Campbell too, though, right? Like I know he's playing for the, Giants, right? He's not really a productive offense by any means, but he did score 117 points last year. And we're talking about like a round 18 pick. So can't really be that picky. We could even go like a Chase Claypool if we wanted to. Like, I know it's Justin Fields throwing the ball, but like Chase Claypool's a, deep play wide receiver, and Fields can throw the ball far as fuck and relatively accurately as well. So I don't think it's the worst pick in human history. Let's see. Can we take him here? Are we going to get sniped? Hopefully not. If not, we're going to go Chase Claypool. Former Steeler, a guy I used to talk shit about every single week because of the dumb shit that he'd do on the field. But hey, a talented guy nonetheless. There we go. Can round out the draft with the Chase Claypool there. So that's all we've got for the 2 drafts we're going to do. I guess 4 drafts, right? We did 2 simultaneously. That's all we're going to do for this live stream tonight. We'll look through a few props before we hop out of here. In fact, I want to get one slip in with this AJ Brown prop. So we're going to try and find some kind of value and then call it a stream out there. We'll look at Prize Picks for a minute too. And we're probably going to do this at least 1 or 2 more times this week. And then I'm thinking Friday evening is when we're going to do the community fantasy draft. So I'll be posting info for that on my Twitter, also over on my Discord page. The only requirement is that you can make it to the draft on Friday and that you want to join in on the fun, right? So we'll do a Discord call that'll be actually live streamed along with the live draft. And people will be able to hear us bantering, talking shit over there for the live stream and having some fun with the fantasy draft. So if that's something that you want to do, reach out to me on Twitter, reach out to me on Discord. I think it's going to be a $50 entry league. So it's not going to be anything crazy. It's going to be like 65% to first, 35% to second, something along those lines. And we'll do it through League Save too. Make it super simple, super secure and whatnot when it comes to the payouts, and stream it all live, right? Have some fun with it as well. So let's go through the prop board, figure out what we're going to do there, and call it a night, shall we? So let's see. You're looking at Charlie Morton live pitching outs right now. Oh, I'll look at a baseball prop. Let me know. Had Kenny start out with all those picks thrown to him. Let's see. I have no idea what you're referring to there, honestly. Oh, you're saying Kenny Pickett or something like that? I have no idea. All right. Let's figure out what we're gonna do here. So we've got Amon-Ra on the back burner. We could take it. Again, I like the game script against Kansas City, right? Detroit's going to have to throw the ball. Amon-Ra is the clear alpha dog there. I don't hate that, but maybe we take something there on Sunday, right? We want this to be like a Sunday sweat card. I don't mind waiting the week and a half before we can go out there and bet it. So let's figure out what we can do. I'm telling you, I don't hate this Gus Edwards prop. Like, I don't hate the under actually for his rushing yards, right? J.K. Dobbins is going to be the number one. Steeler props I'm probably avoiding just because I don't want to feel like a homer out there. In terms of some of the other teams, like I want to look at positive game scripts, right? Ideally, I want players to be in a predictable situation. This Tennessee Saints game, I could really see going a bunch of different ways. So I probably want to avoid that. I liked targeting this Miami versus Chargers game because it feels like anytime the Miami plays a good quarterback, the score ends up being like 70-point total, right, between the two teams. So I did target that game. So maybe I take the other side of it. So I already took a Tyreek Hill prop. I could take a Jalen Waddle prop. I wouldn't hate doing that. Or, right, we could go after one of these players on the Chargers, right? Maybe it's, Herbert at 282. Like, that's probably fair, right? Let's compare it to Prize Picks. Let's see, 287. So it's like a 5-yard discrepancy. I want to look at Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Where are they projected? So Keenan Allen is 63.5. So it's only a 2-yard discrepancy. Mike Williams is 61.5. So that's a 5-yard discrepancy. Let me think about the matchup here. So they're playing Miami, who has Xavier Howard. They're not really big, imposing type of like cornerbacks, right? They're more like speedsters. So it feels like Mike Williams and his speed and his size could probably get a deep ball. This is like saying a whole lot, right? Because I watched the Dolphins, right? I'm from down here in South Florida. It feels like they get beat by the deep ball a lot. So maybe I take Mike Williams, right? Because of the 5-yard discrepancy. I also do think that Miami is going to cook. I think that Miami is going to play very well, even on the road. I think that they're going to find success here. Let's throw that one in there. I also want to keep this Amon-Ra St. Brown one on the back burner, right? We're going to try and figure out which one we're actually going to take, but the top one's locked in. We're definitely taking the A.J. Brown prop. Let's figure out what the pairing's going to be here, though. Before you should look at the weekly winners. I 100% will. Let's do that right now, actually. So the weekly winners contest is this one, right? The one that you're talking about. So this is for week 1. I definitely got to start to get some drafts in here. So it's 20K to first. Wow, okay. 10K. I like the payout structure here a lot. I really like the payout structure that they have on this contest. It's the same scoring, it looks like, right? Is it half a point PPR? That's correct. Roster construction is the same. So that's good to see. And what is it, 18 rounds? Yep, just like it is in the other draft. So yeah, like you said, it's the same thing as regular best ball, but just for 1 week. So maybe on the next draft, which we're going to do tomorrow night, we'll do a few of these. We'll mix in a few weekly winner drafts. So good idea there. In fact, we will 100% we'll do 1 or 2 of these for next week. The real edge here, right, is going to be looking at matchups, right? Trying to, especially like right now, right? Trying to get into these kind of contests right now. A lot of people aren't thinking about week 1 matchups, aren't doing all their due diligence. There's probably a pretty good edge to be had there. So if I would have seen this a little earlier, we probably would have done one of these drafts here on stream. But we'll definitely do one tomorrow. It's a $15 entry too, with 261,000 entries. I like that idea, especially like late rounds, trying to find like some flyer picks. It's going to be tough, right? You're really going to have to deep dive players right down there in week 18. Or start to say like rounds like 17, round 7, 8, 18. That'll be fun. I like that. So let's look at the pick'ems. Let's figure out this slip before we hop on out of here and get this thing rocking. So AJ Brown prop is a lock. Oh, I kind of want to take an under. That's the thing with these props, guys. Like, a lot of them are inflated, right? Especially like for these like shitty players, like a lot of times they're way inflated. Look at this, guys. We took George Pickens yesterday at 30 and a half yards. He's 38 and a half yards now. So that's gone bumped 8 yards already. I mean, that is absurd. Let me look at some of these Jacksonville props. So what is Christian Kirk? And then what do we have Calvin Ridley at? So 61 and a half. That's the same. And then what do you have Kirk at? He might not even be up, huh? Yeah, so no Kirk prop up yet. They've got him at 48 and a half over here, and they've got Zay Jones at 43 and a half. It feels like this over on Christian Kirk, especially because it's the Indy defense, like might be a move, right? I mean, they've got Trevor Lawrence at 250 passing yards. Ooh, I'm really tempted to take this Christian Kirk prop. I know, right, that Calvin Ridley is like getting all the attention out of camp. Let's not forget that Christian Kirk last year had a really, really good season, right? Like people weren't expecting him to go out there and be nearly as productive as Christian Kirk was. And I know that now he's not the quote unquote alpha dog out there, but he's still going to be like the number 2 option at the very least. So, I might go that direction. Like the game script, like it's similar to this Miami one. I think the matchup is fair, right? And if he's going to be the number 2 now, right, he's not going to get all that number 1, corner attention out there. I think I might be talked into it. All right, we're going to take that actually. So I think this might end up being value by the end of the week, right? When we see the sportsbook odds come, I guess like probably Friday, Saturday, we'll probably get the true odds. I think he might be at like 55 to like 57 yards. I have to imagine. Like I think he's going to be higher than 48 and a half. So I'm going to go ahead and lock that in right now. I played it for $475. So I played this pretty aggressively, especially because I really like the AJ Brown prop. He covered that again in like 14 of 17 games last year. Something absurd like that. Definitely feel comfortable with that. So that's going to be it for the live stream today, guys. I appreciate all the support here on the channel as per usual. We'll be doing even more of these streams throughout the week, so keep an eye out for that. And of course, on Friday, we'll be doing that community live draft. So like I said, just reach out to me on Twitter if you'd like to be a part of that, or over there on the Discord, and we'll get that set up there by Friday evening. But until then, salute to all of you out there. Hit that like button on the way out, and I'll catch you guys next time.